So again, hello and welcome to the University of Michigan College of Pharmacy webinar on our new summer program. I'm going to share my screen. So we're very excited about the new Pharmacy Community College Connect program, and it's designed to encourage students attending community and tribal colleges to pursue a pharmacy education. And we have a long-term goal of increasing the number of pharmacists who provide patient care, especially in underserved communities. And so it's our hope that not only will you pursue a career in pharmacy, but that you will do so at the University of Michigan, right? And so that's just everything I said. Okay, now we're on track. So why do we even create the Pharmacy Community College Connect program? In the United States, the amount and quality of healthcare that is received by individuals is not equal. And the result are differences or disparities in health status that are correlated to factors that include race and ethnicity, socioeconomic status, gender, and the community in which people live. These health disparities are a function of the way that social and political systems have been designed in this country. And thus, health outcomes for many are subject to what are called the social determinants of health. Now, research has shown that one effective way to address health disparities in the United States is having a diverse workforce in healthcare. Currently, the demographics of the profession of pharmacy do not match those in the United States population. So the University of Michigan College of Pharmacy is truly committed to contributing to a diverse pharmacy workforce. And one of our efforts, we do have several, one of them is to achieve this goal by recruiting and graduating college students from diverse backgrounds into the profession of pharmacy. Going to take a quick detour here just so you know, like, we're serious. When I came to the College of Pharmacy in 2017, our number of students from marginalized and underrepresented groups was 3.4% of our total PharmD students, which would have been about 380 students total. We are now at 14%. And while we celebrate that achievement, we don't just stop there. Our goal is to educate as diverse a student body, to create as diverse a student workforce in pharmacy, so that all people in this country can be well served in their healthcare needs. So it is for these reasons that we created the Pharmacy Community College Connect program. And at this time, I want to show you a brief video. It's about 3 minutes, and hopefully I got the audio correct on this as well.
Communities of color are disproportionately underrepresented in the health workforce. That trend won't change unless we prioritize the problem now. How do we achieve health workforce equity? We start with getting on the same page about the scale of the problem. We gathered data on people currently working in or training in 10 healthcare professions. Compared to the overall health workforce, Black healthcare workers were underrepresented by an average 46% across professions and in all of the 10 professions that we looked at. Additionally, in 5 of 10 professions, the representation of Black graduates in the pipeline is lower than in the current workforce. Hispanic healthcare workers were underrepresented by 76% and in 10 out of 10 professions. Native American people are underrepresented by 46% in the health workforce and in 9 out of 10 of the health professions, with Native American graduates underrepresented by 43%. Even with slight improvements in the pipeline for Native American and Hispanic graduates, representation in our healthcare workforce isn't where it needs to be. So how do we start moving in the right direction?
It's really about access, and it's about access early on for generations, quite frankly. Black, Hispanic, and Native American students haven't had the same level of opportunity. But what we have seen is that when institutions and policies create access, those opportunities are maximized by students of color.
I myself am a product and testimony that these programs work, and I'm a believer that you have to, share the wealth, right? You have to pay it forward. We have lost, hundreds of thousands of people in the US to COVID-19, and disproportionately, most of the affected ones have been racial and ethnic minorities. Racial and ethnic minorities receive less access and less quality of care services when we don't have a diverse health workforce.
Awesome. So this is just one research project that I really appreciate that points to the fact that the number of people providing healthcare from different ethnicities is sorely underrepresented. And why might that be important? Well, if there's anything that we learned from COVID, it has to be that the absence of healthcare providers that look like and connect with the patients can be deadly. So many people, especially in Detroit, did not trust their healthcare providers. And so they were refusing to take the vaccine, especially in the very early days. Having healthcare that is culturally competent, which means the provider can effectively communicate across cultural differences, and when there are fewer cultural differences, enabling an even more effective communication between healthcare provider and patient, understanding between patient and healthcare provider are big keys to success of a healthcare plan being successful for a patient. And so the more the healthcare workforce represents the American population, and the more patients have access to healthcare providers that look like them, that share their backgrounds, that share their values, that share their traditions, then the more likely it will be that the healthcare that is provided is also effective. So this is a good place for me to talk about what do pharmacists actually do? And the short-term answer is a whole lot. So there are clinical pharmacists who work in hospitals and clinics alongside physicians. They aid in patient assessment, figuring out what medications to prescribe based on the patient's unique health needs. Then there are community pharmacists who primarily work in retail pharmacies like Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid to dispense medications and counsel patients about safe medication use. And I just want to pause here and point out that this is why pharmacists are the most accessible healthcare providers in the country, because they are present in community pharmacies, and a patient can walk into any community pharmacy and access the pharmacist who will assist them. Community pharmacies are incredibly important, and it is one of our sincere hopes that the situation with pharmacy deserts, where the communities that don't have a pharmacy present in their community, gets addressed, because it affects not only access to a healthcare provider, but also access to medications. If you're not accessing your medications well, then the likelihood of you not getting your medications becomes high. Next, we have industry pharmacists who work in biotech and the pharmaceutical industries through drug discovery and also educating healthcare professionals about the latest therapies. We also have information technology pharmacists. I want to take this moment to switch over here and talk to you about some of our pharmacists that do information technology pharmacy, which is the use of technology with drug treatment to help physicians and hospitals communicate with patients and manage treatment, in part, but there's more. And I want to take a moment and highlight my colleague, Dr. Michael Dorsch. And Mike Dorsch has been able to combine his love of coding, right? He grew up coding when it first started back in sort of the 80s and 90s, and his love of healthcare to address health behaviors for people with heart disease and cardiac disease. So what he and his colleagues have done is, sorry about that, what he and his colleagues have done have been to create an app that uses geospatial technology. Best way I know how to put that is it knows where you are, right? And if it senses that you are near a McDonald's, it will say, I recognize you are near a McDonald's. If you are going to eat here, these are the foods that are acceptable for you, right? Based on your salt tolerance levels and other factors. And so this use of technology and information technology goes beyond just combining technology with drug treatment to help physicians and hospitals communicate with patients, but also around managing treatment. And that's the sort of bucket that Mike Dorsch's work is in. They also do regulatory and federal work, working for a variety of government agencies like the Food and Drug Administration. And so when our students have to have a pharmacy education experience working in regulatory and federal affairs, many of them get to go and work for a while at the FDA, among other federal agencies, right? And so their work includes making sure that drugs meet the requirements to go to market. They conduct research and delivering healthcare to vulnerable populations and more, right? So if there's a team that recognizes, oh yeah, COVID vaccines, not really having enough people of color, especially African Americans in places like Detroit, getting access to these vaccines, let us take a very large shipment, really large, and deposit it in a focused area so that that vulnerable population has access to the healthcare that they need. Have you ever had your doctor say, I want to use this medication with you? It's not the normal way it gets used, and they call it being off script, right? Not on the normal prescription plan or protocol. That requires a level of regulatory approval. So a doctor cannot just run rogue, right? They have to have regulatory approval. Who participates in that regulatory approval? Pharmacists. Here at the University of Michigan, we have a whole team that does that work, investigating requests, processing the paperwork, having the conversations with federal regulatory affairs to get permission for doctors and pharmacists to use the medication in ways that it was not initially designed to do. They also do research and research new drugs and therapies through clinical trials and make recommendations for physicians regarding disease treatments. And these are just some of the opportunities. So in addition to being a clinical pharmacist, oops, wrong way. All right, in addition to being a clinical pharmacist, you may specialize in pediatric oncology. So you work in a clinic or the hospital clinic of pediatric oncology, and you are the pharmacist that determines what medications get used and the dosages. Pediatrics is an amazing world because no one really tries these drugs out to be effective in children, and the dosing isn't always known. Pharmacists are the ones that figure out this kind of information. So there are many layers to the kinds of work that pharmacists do. I want to also highlight a couple of areas that are not on the list. And the first is ambulatory care. And the reason I want to highlight ambulatory care is because I believe, and I know many others do as well, that this is going to be this next future of healthcare. So a pharmacist works in partnership and under the license of a physician and handles much of the primary care that happens for a patient. So if you are someone who has diabetes, your doctor diagnoses you and then may put you under the care of the pharmacist that is part of his or her practice. The pharmacist then keeps track of your labs, can prescribe and change your medications, right? And also provide support for your disease state, right? Information, medication plan, and support you in those ways. I want to take this moment and highlight my colleague, Dr. Haimi Cho. And the reason I highlight Dr. Cho is because she is literally the godmother of ambulatory care. The ambulatory care process that she has created has been recognized by the federal government as the exemplary plan and blueprint by which ambulatory care should be done in this country. She has established ambulatory care programming in several countries. And so that she is here at Michigan, and she and her team are doing amazing work, both locally within Michigan medicine and across the country, is a really wonderful thing and a wonderful benefit for our students as well. The second area I want to highlight is precision pharmacotherapy. There's a little mouthful, right? And it's a young and exciting field. Those who practice precision pharmacotherapy work to identify the right drug at the right dose for the right duration for the right patient. Okay, so which drug should you have? What dose should it be? And is it going to work well in you versus the next patient? It also involves research to discover and integrate the use of genomics, okay, your gene and gene expression, metabolomics, I always get that a little confused, right? How your body is processing, breaking down components, proteomics, the expression of your proteins, right? All of these are interacting to determine the effectiveness of medication, in addition to estimating organ function in reaction to the medication, monitoring the therapeutic drug, environmental and lifestyle exposures, all to guide drug selection and dosing. It is a very way cool area of pharmacy practice. And I want to take this moment to highlight my colleague, Jasmine Luzum, who is truly at the forefront of this work. She is a young faculty member who is being recognized nationally for her work. She has made a wonderful video, and so I'm going to share that with you here.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Luzum. I was a clinical pharmacist in cardiology and a community pharmacist for several years while I completed my PhD and a postdoctoral fellowship focused on cardiovascular pharmacogenomics. And now the mission of my lab is to improve cardiovascular medication outcomes with precision medicine. So what does that mean? As you probably already know, heart disease is the #1 killer worldwide. Over 400 million men and women have some kind of cardiovascular illness. 1/3 of all global deaths are the result of heart disease and stroke, and around 18 million people across the globe die from heart disease each year. If we have a diverse group of individuals, and let's say they all have heart disease, if we treat them all with the same medication, then they don't all respond to that medication the same. Most patients with cardiovascular disease will improve when treated with drugs, but some may not improve, and in some, their heart disease may actually get worse, or they have some kind of adverse reaction to the drug. So the goal of my lab is to understand why patients respond differently to their cardiovascular medications. and most of our work focuses on genomics, specifically asking, how does the patient's genes affect their response to cardiovascular medications? We work across the translational research spectrum, from discovery to validation to clinical implementation. On the left side of the slide is my contact information, and feel free to contact me or check out my lab's website if you have any questions about the work that we do. Thank you very much for your attention.
Great. So really appreciate her and the work that she is doing. I want to continue and talk about the program. Why are we here? Pharmacy Community College Connect, or PC3, again, is designed to recruit students to and support students in being prepared for pharmacy school. PC3 is recruiting students from community and tribal colleges, and it is our expectation that you will complete your associate's degree at your two-year institution. We recognize the financial benefits of doing so and the community benefits, right? You have joined a community at your institution that is supportive and caring. Not to say we aren't, but you shouldn't miss out on that experience. So you'll complete your associate's degree at your two-year institution and then transfer to a four-year campus to complete your bachelor's degree. After that, you would go to pharmacy school and hopefully do so at the University of Michigan. Some gaps in between there, let me fill those in for you. So what about PC3? It is a 10-week residential program, and students live in the dorms along with a couple of our PharmD students who will serve as the program facilitators. So room and board are provided. The program will run this year from May 27th through August 5th, and transportation to and from the program will be paid with a cap of $500 total. Students will be taking courses in our curriculum, which are based on prerequisite courses for pharmacy school. So some of them will be review courses with an emphasis on components that are essential and important for pharmacy school. And then some of them will be some introductory courses directly related to pharmacy curriculum. In addition, you're going to have the opportunity to job shadow pharmacists on site. You will also have visits to health centers that are focused on providing healthcare to underserved populations. And there are several here in Southeast Michigan and Central Michigan that we will be interacting with. You will also have near-peer mentors and participate in a very strong mentoring program. You will have individual academic advising so that along the way, you know the kind of academic progress you're making to get into pharmacy school. And I know this sounds really rigorous, but I promise, you will also have fun. There will be day trips, socials, etc. 10 weeks, we don't want you bored and we don't want you hating being away for 10 weeks. This will be a very social program as well. So, why should you do PC3? Well, if you know you want to be a pharmacist, this is an exciting and very strong and supportive program to get you in the pharmacy school. And then once you're here, we thoroughly support you. You have to work so hard to fail out of pharmacy school here, right? We bring so many supports around every student, be it around academic progress or around your wellness. If you run into health issues, we're there for you and support you through social issues. So we don't just bring you here and go, good luck, right? We have a very strong, supportive team that walks alongside you through your 4 years of pharmacy school. So you also may want to do PC3 if you know you want to work in healthcare and you want to find out if pharmacy is the right program for you. Then we encourage you to do this program and find out. So let's talk about your path to pharmacy school. All right. So there is your first or second year at your 2-year institution. We invite you to come and do the PC3 program. If you've done just your first year and then come to PC3, then after your second year, we invite you to come back. Then you go to your 4-year institution and you'll do your junior year of school. And then we invite you to come to our Pharmacy Scholars program, right? And Pharmacy Scholars is designed as a boot camp to support students in applying to pharmacy school and being ready for their first year of pharmacy school courses. Then you finish up your senior year, and then it's time to pack up and come to pharmacy school. In that senior year, you will apply to pharmacy school and know where you are attending. So this is sort of the plan for how this all works. You're at your 2-year institution, you do at least 1 year of PC3, and then as you matriculate to your 4-year institution and finish up your bachelor's degree, you can participate in Pharmacy Scholars. That's not required, but we certainly encourage you to do it. And students who have done this program have done amazing things. We are just graduating our first cohort. So these are students who came to us 2018, are finishing up their pharmacy careers and are heading out into the world to be practicing pharmacists. And then in your senior year, you'll apply to pharmacy school, and then you'll get ready to come back to the University of Michigan and begin your pharmacy school education. Now, again, it's our expectation that you will finish your associate's degree. So this is not a program where we're trying to take you from your 2-year institution. We want you to have that support and complete your AA degree and then begin your completion of your bachelor's degree at a 4-year institution. And so if you transfer to a University of Michigan campus, Ann Arbor, Dearborn, or Flint, you are eligible for the Go Blue Guarantee. The requirements for that are that you're a Michigan resident, that you have a GPA of 3.5 or higher, and that you have family income of $65,000 or less and assets below $50,000. Now, this is one opportunity to have funding for your 4-year degree, your 2 years at Michigan. There are additional ways in which you can be supported as a transfer student at Michigan. So one of the things that you will have while you are participating in PC3 is an in-depth financial aid counseling session so that you will know what are the right opportunities for you. And even if you decide to go to another 4-year institution, once you are ours, we keep you, right? So if you belong to the PC3 program at all, you will always belong to the University of Michigan. We are designing the program that we will continue to stay in contact with you throughout your entire undergraduate education and support you in coming here to pharmacy school. So after you complete your bachelor's degree, again, that senior year, you are applying to pharmacy school. And then after that, you begin your first year of pharmacy school.